the ESC 1110 online class Ecology 2 activity, a guide how to complete it. The PowerPoint file that you download is the template for your activity. Each slide has specific directions on what needs to be there. The first slide instructs you to save the slide with an appropriate file name. Then click the slide title and give your presentation an appropriate title. Take a picture of the temperate deciduous forest and use it as a background. Make sure the slide title is plainly visible. Delete all of the instructions on the slide when you're done. This slide requires a map of the world showing the locations of the temperate deciduous forest. You will get this image from the internet. Use lines or arrows to point out where the temperate deciduous forest is on the map. Then, in your own words, describe where the temperate deciduous forest is found. Make sure you include the URL where your image came from. It must be from the original web page. Do not use a URL that contains the word Google. Also, do not copy and paste any of the text that you use in any of your slides. Any text that you write needs to be your own words. Next, you need a climate diagram for a location in the temperate deciduous forest and some images that illustrate some aspects of the climate, for instance, seasons, etc. A source for the climate diagram is the ESC 1110 Weather and Climate Activity. Feel free to use an appropriate diagram from that file. Images may also come from the internet. All internet images must be properly cited. In addition, type some text explaining about what the climate is like in the temperate deciduous forest. Once again, do not copy and paste text from the internet. Next, you will illustrate temperate deciduous forest vegetation. I have provided 3 slides for this, although you may not need all of them. Please delete the ones you don't use. On this slide, define the terms deciduous and spring ephemeral. You then need a properly identified image of a temperate deciduous forest flower, tree, and shrub. Contact your instructor for help with identifications. However, do not wait until the day before or the day of the fact that this activity is due. Your instructor will need to have time to be able to look at your questions. You'll also need a picture showing leaf litter on the forest floor. Remember, you have 2 more slides to use if you need them. All of these images must be made by you. Here is an extra slide. You'll probably need this one. And here is yet a 3rd slide. You may or may not need this one. If you don't need it, please delete it. The next slides are about animals in the temperate deciduous forest. You need an image of a mammal, a bird, a reptile, an amphibian, and an insect or spider. You must make at least one of these images. The rest can come from the internet, properly cited. These should all be organisms you would expect to find in forests in Tennessee. For each image, include a text box explaining why you chose the organism and what its role is in the forest. Now keep in mind, that means that every picture will have its own text box specific to that picture. Do not just put in your pictures and throw in one text box describing everything. Each image has to have its own text box caption. Organisms also need to be identified. What kind of bird is it? What kind of lizard is it? Once again, your instructor will help you, but do not wait until the last minute to ask for help. An extra slide is provided. Here is the extra slide, and I expect that you will probably need it. On this slide, use images that you make or find online that illustrate special features of the temperate deciduous forest. Yes, there are several. All internet images must be properly cited, and all text must be your own words. Do not copy and paste text. On the next two slides, you will look at threats to the temperate deciduous forest. You need to describe one direct human threat, meaning actions by humans that directly alter or impact the forest, and two natural threats, non-human agents that impact the forest. Now, the natural threats may have a human component. For instance, invasive exotic species alter and impact the forest, but there's usually a human angle associated with that, as people are responsible for introducing the invasive exotics. Each threat must have an image that illustrates it. At least two of these images must be ones that you make. Here is an extra slide for the threats. I expect that you will need this one. This slide is for you to document and explain primary succession. Make sure you understand what primary succession is. You need to find an example and take pictures that illustrate the process. Then use text to explain the process and tell how your image or images illustrate it. This slide is for you to document and explain secondary succession. Make sure you understand what secondary succession is. You need to find an example and take pictures that illustrate the process. Then use text to explain the process and tell how your images illustrate it. Hopefully, while you're out in the forest, you will see things that interest you. Take lots of pictures. Then put some of your favorites on this slide. Arrange them, crop them, have some fun with it. I'm expecting at least 3 to 5 good pictures here, and at least one of them must have you in it. That means you need to take a friend or a family member with you. Explaining to them what you are doing is a great way to learn yourself. Have fun with this.